Before the Pharaoh. The queen walked with strong, purposeful steps through the palace halls, yet in her heart she felt trepidation. 2 Egyptian guards followed behind her, and one walked ahead with a blazing torch in his hand. Only their soft footsteps could be heard as the party made their way through the massive palace. Finally, they reached the throne room, and the queen turned to the guards and instructed them, "Wait here for my return." She brushed back her hair, smoothed her dress, and laid her hands on the door. Though she was nervous about this encounter with her husband, she was not going to turn back now or show her emotions. She pushed the doors open and lifted up her chin as she walked with dignity into the throne room. The doors creaked and groaned as they swung open on their hinges and then closed with a resounding bang. Instantly, 4 guards jumped forward and raised a torch to see who it was. There was exclamations of surprise as they jumped back. And one guard said apologetically, "We're most sorry, my queen. Please enter." The queen stepped forward into the large, open space. On the walls, flames of light danced and made a dim glow. In the far left corner, several magicians sat poring over their books and spells. Guards and sentries lined the walls, and several servants walked to and fro, bringing food for the magicians and the pharaoh. Pharaoh himself sat on a dais in the far end of the hall, talking with their son. Pharaoh's gold throne glowed eerily in the torchlight as he looked up in surprise. The queen approached the dais and bowed low, locking eyes with her son for a brief moment. He was smiling, happy to see her. "My lady," the pharaoh exclaimed, "what is it you wish of me? Has something happened to you? Is there a problem in the palace?" Pharaoh was a little alarmed, for his queen didn't usually come to see him of her own free will, but both of them were very strong-willed, and their personalities and opinions often clashed. "No, my lord, everything is well with me. It's about the Hebrew nation that I have come to speak to you," the queen replied. "Oh?" Pharaoh asked, his curiosity very much aroused. "My lord and my king, I have been talking with one of my Hebrew maids, and she believes that it's not our gods who are bringing on all this trouble, but their God. It would seem that until you allow these people to go to their own land, we will have no end of trials here in Egypt. Please, my lord, reconsider keeping these people as slaves. I'm sure that you, as much as I, would wish that our land be left in peace." During the queen's appeal, the pharaoh's handsome and strong face had grown darker and darker. The prince's face had grown pale and sad. The queen bit her lip, realizing that her plea was in vain. With a scowl, Pharaoh answered her in a tone of anger. "I wouldn't have thought it of you, my queen, to ask for their freedom. I've made my decision, and it is final. Nothing can make me let the Israelite nation go. Do you see how much good they have done us? Our Egyptian nation has grown mighty and strong, and without them we will never be able to rebuild our lives or our foreign status." "But if we keep them, their God will utterly destroy us," the queen exclaimed. "Enough!" her husband roared. "I've made my decision, and I cannot be moved from it. I will prove that I am more powerful than the God of the Israelites. Now go!" And with a wave of his hand, he dismissed the queen. The queen peered at her son. His head was down in a despairing way. He slowly lifted his head, staring into her eyes. She knew that Ramesses felt the way she did, but she knew that there was nothing more either of them could do to change the pharaoh's mind. Wrenching her eyes from her son's face, she turned away reluctantly. If what Adah said was true, then Egypt would be left as nothing by the time Pharaoh's heart was changed. Suddenly she turned back to the pharaoh and said, "I'm not sure why I believe what my maid says, but I really feel and believe that because of your hard heart, utter destruction will be brought unto our nation. I cannot say anything to change your mind, so I will not endeavor to, but because you have not listened, you will now see the consequences." "I've told you to leave my presence!" Pharaoh shouted, gesturing angrily at her. The prince recoiled in fear. The queen stiffened, feeling Pharaoh's anger and resentment. "Yes, my king," the queen replied, bowing, and then exited through the wooden doors. She had done all she could possibly do to save her husband, her son, and her nation. Now the fate of the Egyptian people lay in the hands of the Israelites' God. A few days later, Pharaoh begged Moses to get rid of the darkness. Moses prayed to Yahweh, and the darkness was lifted from Egypt. But once again, the Israelites were forced into the vile service of Pharaoh. All of the Hebrews hoped that it wouldn't be long before Yahweh again gave heed to their cries for deliverance.